Hey everyone, it's Sikaal and Opheana here today, and today we're going to be talking about new children. Who are these new children? Did you want to start with that, Opheana?
Yeah. Right. So we've got 4 of those children, those new children. We just wanted to go into and explain. You've probably heard of the indigo children, the crystal children. Doreen Virtue goes into that a lot with her books. In our experience, it's really about finding out who they are by allowing them to share it with us, who they are, because there's new energies coming through all of the time. Each one of our 4 children has their own stream coming through, just as we all have our own streams coming through. Yet their frequency is a very special new frequency. They've come here to assist the earth to ascend, to expand, to bring through new knowledge, new truth, to assist us in heightening our frequency so we can move forward together. And you know, with the frequency of the earth rising, we need to rise as well to have a comfortable and happy life, and so they're here to assist with that.
And one of the ways to recognize these new children is just their energy and their being non-conventional. They may seem like normal, regular children, whatever that is, but you can get a sense that they're a little different. They don't fit in with an old model of how things are in current society. You might find they just have an exuberance of love that they're sharing. You can see it in their clear, often big, bright eyes, and it's like they can see through you in a warm way, or they can see like with a laser sight. They know exactly who you are. They can hear your thoughts. They can feel your energy, and they all come with a different message. Now they too have to grow through wounding they bring, and wounding that is currently reflected back at them in current society. For instance, stagnation or low frequency, a lot of low angry emotions or stuck emotions, and so they have to move through that in themselves to really express who they are to the world, because they come to bring the next level of our Earth society. They come to bring a next flow. And within this flow, some of them focus on love. Some of them focus on light, bringing through new knowledge, new technologies. That's why you're seeing so many of these new kids. They're so young. Some of them are 10, 11, 12, and they're bringing through this amazing stuff. Or kids that are 3, 4, 5, 6 that are bringing through amazing artwork, new light language concepts. There's so much they bring through, new ideas on science and health and happiness, and how parents can interact with kids, and how families can be formed, how the schooling system can be different, how they need to be taught in a different way. Maybe an example about sort of homeschooling versus traditional schooling within that?
So we've experienced a range of, you know, the conventional schooling, from private schools to full radical unschooling, and we've moved through all of that to find our way and what works for us. And with each child, again, it's actually different for them, so we need to read into and find out what works for the child within a realm of our comfort to support them. So it's not about changing our entire life, and it's all about the children. It's actually all about the family. So what's going to create a harmonious family? And if you look into each child and find out, well, what are their needs? Usually if their needs are met, our needs can be met as well, and so there can be that harmony. You know, it's not all about, like I used to be, a self-sacrificing parent where it's all about the child, you know. It's really about being present with the child while being present with yourself, because it's teaching the child that as a mother, you're also a woman, you know, you're a friend, you're a lover, you're a partner, you have a career, you have passions in life, and you are walking through life with them, you're guiding them. And so one of the areas that we've really found with our kids, and seeing with other kids as well, is it's really important to find out who they are and how they tick, and that way we can support them forward. And there's a lot of labels in society these days especially, and that's because a lot of the new children do not fit in and don't tick
with an old model,
with a very, very old model. So especially the education system, parenting ways, you know, all of that children are just not suited to that anymore. And so maybe there is a percentage of children that it works okay, it doesn't traumatize them. So there, with the labeling, it's really important to look at, well, what are the symptoms that these children are showing? For instance, there's dyslexia, there's autism, there's the range of Asperger's, there's ADD, ADHD. What are the symptoms that they're showing? Are they symptoms? Is there something actually wrong? Or are these children trying to tell us something's wrong with this, something's wrong with this system, something's wrong with the way that you're trying to force me into things? And they're trying to push against the system, seemingly bad behavior or difficulties. They're showing us how to do it. They're showing us, it doesn't have to be this way. For instance, with dyslexia, these children are extraordinary creative beings with amazing skills, with practicality, seeing the big, huge picture, in fact.
And being able to hold a lot of information in one go, but when it comes down to what is academics and the old way of learning to, for instance, read and write, it just doesn't work with the new model brain. Yes. It's like a new upgraded version doesn't work with the old way of communicating. And that's exactly what Opheana says. We need to learn what the individual flavor of each child is. And we can tell you, as parents of 4 of these kids, they will mirror things back to you that you need to change, that are inside of you from the old model.
It's a gift.
They gift it to us, and we have learned to grow through that and always like, why are they not responding to this way of change or this way of us doing things the way it was always done? Well, it's because it no longer works, and they're showing us that.
So what are the new ways? The new ways are, well, you tell us, what is it that you want to do? Ask the child. The child, they know so much more than you think, and it can be a process because maybe their language skills aren't as ready. But if you hang out with them, if you come into presence with them, you can see where their gifts are, and if you nurture that and love that, that's where they're going to just expand. They're going to expand to the point where their confidence grows, their empowerment grows. Then they can bring through their true gifts that a lot of society is squashing. They're squashing this gift that these, creative beings have, the ones that are truly focused on what they want, and they keep getting pulled and saying, no, you have to do this. It's like, no, I'm obsessed with this. You can't be obsessed with that. You've got to come over here and you've got to have this holistic view with all these different, you've got to do your maths, your English, your science, this, that, and your art. What if it's in a scientific mind and their creativity is in science? What if it's only an artistic mind and their science is in creativity? For instance, one of our kids, she's an artist, and she didn't like measuring. But you know what? She hit the mark pretty much every time. It's like, use a ruler. No, I don't want to use a ruler. But that's how you need to do it to get the measurement. Well, I don't want to use a ruler. And it gets done, and guess what? The squares are perfect, the circles are, there's no protractors involved here. This is what they have. They have gifts beyond our minds.
And it's interesting that an old model, just adding on there, an old model is built on creating the same type of product as best as that is possible. A little bit robotic, of 80% the same, and they all come out of the schools, the universities, whatever schooling system, the same. But we're all so different, and perhaps a lot of the older generation have been repressed in their true gift that they have to the world. These new kids won't allow that to happen anymore. They will resist and resist and resist and push and push and push and show you behaviors that don't work, and they won't do it, and they won't be forced and coerced into old ways, because they are meant to show us new ways. And they look like very little tiny people in little bodies, but their souls are just as big and just as multi-dimensional as we are. And if you look at kids that way, that's when your life as a parent and perhaps as a teacher can truly start to be mirroring this new higher frequency reality that we're moving towards.
Just friends of children, just see them as your equal.
It doesn't mean no boundaries, because you still got your parenting role of learning boundaries and teaching them proper behavior, like thank you and please. Why? Because it's just nice. If people say thank you and please, those are just things we find nice. Maybe you don't agree, and that's fine.
In saying that, Sikaal and I have worked through stories and programming of parenting, and Sikaal was maybe a little bit more conventional,
more traditional,
more traditional, and I was a very nice little girl, and I had to break out of that. So when Sikaal says nice, that activates that old one in me, and I'm like, no, not nice, but it's respectful.
It's respectful of others on their journey as well. And an example is thank you and please, but it really is about allowing their flow. You still have the responsibility as a parent to some degree to guide their journey.
Absolutely.
However, their soul is just as big as our souls. It is just in a littler body that's getting bigger and bigger. And maybe when they're 18, it's easier to see, oh, now they're an adult. Now they're sort of equal to me, but I've still got that much more experience. So I'm always going to be a little bit more experienced than they are. That's an illusion, though, because they bring in a lot of high frequency information and gifts to share. So as a parent, be open to receiving these gifts and open to them changing you while you guide them with your knowledge as well. It's this journey that you do together as a family.
It's not giving over your power to the child. It's having your power connect and work in harmony together. You know, it's like we sit down as a family and we say, okay, there's something going on. There's a bit of disharmony. What's going on? How are you feeling about it? Well, how can we work this out so that everyone feels okay with this and we can move forward? And I can guarantee you, every single time it shifts.
And these kids are very good at that model. They're very good at knowing what's inside them, even though they might not really understand it. They're very good at acknowledging that. And the quicker you figure out what makes your child tick and where their pressure points are, where they go into spins of anger or blocking or hurt or grief, whatever, the quicker you can actually help them to maneuver through that and talking through that with them instead of robotically making them into who all
Same
of the previous generations have become as well.
A better child,
child,
a more well-behaved child. So I just want to share a bit about the personalities of what we're seeing in our children. For instance, one of our sons, he was born and he felt like he was 21 years old. His presence, his spirit was very solidly here. And he had a big part, we feel, in bringing us together. He's like, righto, let's get this job done. And then we found each other, and it was an extraordinary, beautiful way that we found each other. And he does that all the time. He's like, righto, let's get this done. Righto, he's a man. He's 8 years old, but he's a real man, and he suggests the next project for us to do as a family. You know, Sikaal and I, we wouldn't do all of the things that we would do as a family if it wasn't for him. And then we have another son who's just, you know, adventurous, and he's like, when are we going there? When are we going? Okay, we've got to organize that, because that just expands his mind and he just lights up, you know. And then the other side of him is he's got so much power, our little one, he's got so much power running through his body, he can barely cope with it. And so he's got this Orion type energy where he has had a lot of difficulty with this thing called anger, because he felt disempowered, so the anger would come up. So we really look at that and say, well, how can we assist him to feel empowered, but also holding space for him that he needs to work through that
without
as well.
shutting it down in the old-fashioned way of trying to get him to behave in a certain way. And it's obviously a learning process for us, and continues to be, you know, like with our daughter as well, our smallest daughter. She's just this creative button and filled with love for the world, and that's all she does. And so when you try to direct her more from a masculine, maybe 3D old-fashioned way, there's nothing that computes. So it's like you got to be there. She's almost like a bit of a fairy, creative, beautiful, loving being. And so we acknowledge each of them in their rights as a soul. However, we have to grow through, because
she teaches us how to communicate with her in a very high frequency way. For instance, if Sikaal says something to her and it's in a little bit more traditional way, you know, she will look at him and he will remember, or we will remember, softness. You know, she needs softness, and then she gets it. That's all she needs. She just needs communication in a soft, gentle, and open way. So number one is, it's not about forcing your child, in our perspective, forcing your child into anything that they don't want to do. It's really sitting, well, why is it that they don't want to do it? Do they need some time to grow into, to get some more empowerment in this area, or is it yours? Are you wanting them to do it because that's what they need? They need better grades, or they need to do piano, or they need to be nicer to the family. You know, it's really about having loving boundaries with them, but giving them the space and the expansion to truly be who they are, to truly allow them to show you, maybe even who you are, that you can be more of yourself. You don't have to do the conventional thing either. You don't have to have the conventional job or learn the conventional way. So giving them the space to be themselves is number one, and then supporting them forward with that. And it's again not about sacrificing your own needs. It needs to be within a space where the parents' needs get met, the kids' needs get met, and it merges into this beautiful space of family harmony.
And understanding that you're each here as a soul with a different journey and a mission, but as a family and as a relationship couple, you choose to do that together. So I think the main thing we wanted to get across is just the realization that these new kids are here and have been for quite a while. So if you come across them in your own family or in your environment, to understand that the main thing is to just get to know them, what makes them tick, and trust their guidance, and that they actually can teach you a lot more than potentially you can teach them from an old model. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for today.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in again, and we look forward to seeing you next time again. Thank you so much, and many, many blessings.